Namaskar. We have a very special guest today. Please welcome Dr. Anurag Batra. Dr. Anurag Batra is an serial entrepreneur. He is a media mogul. He is the chairman and editor-in-chief of Business World magazine, which is one of the most prominent magazines in India. And he is also founder of Exchange for Media. Today, he has come to Goa in connection with an event organized by Exchange for Media. The event is called Business Leaders Retreat. So we are taking this opportunity to have a chat with Dr. Batra. Welcome, Dr. Batra.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to my conversation with you.
Thank you very much. At the outset, what is this conference about, retreat about?
See, basically, Exchange for Media is the homepage for the last 2 decades for marketers, advertisers, media agencies, media professionals. And at the foot of the advertising, marketing, media chain are the marketers, are the business leaders, owners of businesses, leaders of the brands. So we brought 40 such business leaders who lead businesses, who lead brands here, and we brought an ecosystem of advertising, marketing, media, advertising tech, marketing tech, so that they can interact with each other. They can be collaborating with each other. They go back more rejuvenated, re-energized. So the conference is a combination of knowledge, connectivity, inspiration, tools, bonding. This is what happens in a residential retreat. This is a residential retreat, unlike a conference where you come for the day and you go away. So clearly, it is to be able to bring the marketeers, the brand owners, and everybody in the ecosystem together.
Right. So it's a great thing actually, and it's nice that Goa is hosting it. Why you thought Goa?
In Goa has a certain vibe, you know. I don't think there is any other city in the country that has the Goa vibe. Goa also has a good hospitality infrastructure. The weather is nice around this time. There's good connectivity, and everyone is happy to come to Goa. So we just chose Goa. It's like you don't have to explain too much.
Yes. Otherwise, people think that Goa is a leisure place where people come and relax, not to discuss business or But now things are changing. Now I think Goa is being considered as a serious place where we can come and do business.
Of course, and also what happens is the facilities available, the hospitality options, all of them are large. So it helps in being able to discuss business in an environment which relaxes you.
Yes. So Goa has the right infrastructure for this kind of conferences. What will be the takeaway from this conference?
I think technology has taken over our business in a big way. How artificial intelligence is being used in marketing and marketing communication. What are the new tools? How is UI, UX very important because there's a digital interface for everything. How, while there is technology, the role of creative communication still triumphs. So really, it's a holistic view of what's happening in the advertising, marketing, media domain, and what are the trends in the future. And then is relationships that people form. There are lots of fun things apart from knowledge, because the idea is for people to collaborate with each other.
Very nice concept, actually. And things are very drastically changing today in the media field and even other areas. And IT is taking over, and there's so many possibilities, especially artificial intelligence and giving a lot of possibilities now. So it is very important to have this kind of interactions with the various experts in the fields. So hopefully there will be a fruitful discussion, and there is something good coming out from this conference. Besides this, you are being a media entrepreneur. You have been in the field of media for decades, and you have launched so many publications. Just want to know from you, what is the scenario today as far as media is concerned?
See, the fact is, this year was a special year. If you look at the AdX, which is the total money spent in advertising globally, for the first time in my 25 years of being in this business, it reached $1 trillion. So the total advertising spend across the world is $1 trillion. But what is noteworthy what is noteworthy is that 700 million of this, or billion of this, is digital.
Oh.
450 billion of this is just 2 companies. So clearly everybody is playing in $300 million. The 2 companies, $450 billion, $450 billion.
The Facebook and Google.
Google, 2 companies. And the other digital players doing another $250 billion. And everybody else is between 300. So $650 billion is digital, $350 billion is non-digital. So television, newspapers, magazines, everything is $350 billion across the world. And digital is $650 billion. And out of that $650 billion, 2 companies are $450 billion. So clearly, digital is becoming mainstream. The larger players are growing larger and larger. And we have to reinvent our businesses.
Right. So how the media, traditional media, can survive in this cutthroat competition?
So, very important is, first of all, we have to redefine what we are. I'm not in the magazine business. I'm not in the print business. I'm in the business of brand and content.
Okay.
Business World is a huge brand. Second, we have to be fully digital. Third, the value of experiential, of events. Fourth is to be able to do content that is very deep.
Okay.
Let's take the example of Exchange for Media. We have a unique place in the lives of everybody in our ecosystem. We do content that is of value to every stakeholder.
Right.
So, whatever you do, do it differentiated, do it deep, and do it digital. I say the 3 Ds of surviving in media are differentiated content, deep content, and digital content. And again, whether it's text, it's video, it's audio, we're in the business of content and audiences. Whatever touch point the audiences have, they have.
Okay. So we need to change. We need to change drastically, and we need to focus on one is digital. Digital is the future, and we cannot escape it. What about the print?
It's not the future, it's
already present actually.
I told you after.
Right.
Out of $1 trillion, $650 billion.
Yes, a huge chunk
digital
actually.
Digital is mainstream. Everything else is not mainstream anymore.
So if you want to survive, you have to go digital. Yes. There is no other option. What about this print media, the traditional print media? Will they survive?
In India, we will survive. We've been talking about the demise of radio for 40 years. Has the radio business gone away? No. So the print business has certain credibility. There is certain serendipity. For the foreseeable future, it will survive. Next 3 to 5 years, I don't know. I'm not a futurist, I'm not an astrologer. I don't know what will happen. But clearly, newspapers have to redefine what they exist for. They're not in the business of paper. They're in the business of news.
Yes.
The news should happen. Sakal has become a video product. It's become a digital product.
Yes.
Similarly, everybody else.
Right.
So clearly, they're here to stay. The last 2 years, 3 years post-COVID were very good. The newsprint price, it came down. The cost came down. The revenues went up. Look at the profitability of the listed newspaper companies. The last year was one of the most profitable years. Now, can that money be plowed back to build digital businesses? That's what the newspaper should be doing.
Okay. You cannot rely on traditional media now. You also has to diversify into...
Already newspapers are doing.
Yes. And so that is very, very critical that people have to reinvent, people have to go into niche areas, people have to give utility kind of content. You cannot depend on the standard kind of media.
As I said, domain, deep domain content, differentiated content. Can you be the top 3 players in any domain? Because the 4th, 5th, 6th don't have a chance. So that's how you got to look at it.
So now what will happen? The small players will finish off and only the big houses will stay in the...
I can't say that. There is a long tail of media and small players are there. I mean, influencers are also media owners.
Yes.
They are into business of content and advertising.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't think you can say they'll, but the ones that have differentiated point of view, differentiated content, have a lower cost base, are fully digital, will survive and thrive.
Okay. So you have to give something different. You have to catch that eyeballs.
Yeah, if you're doing more of the same, the consumer will go to a more established player.
Right.
It's very simple. It's not complex.
And in a way, actually, this digital media has democratized the media. Actually, anybody can come and start their own media, own channel, and depending upon how the content is, you will get the.
Absolutely, it has democratized. You need a nuanced point of view. You need to shoot it. You need to get it out.
Yes.
If it has authenticity, if it has depth, it has, it has some value. It will get traction.
Yes. So that is the best thing that happened actually. Though we see that traditional print media is slowly.
Also the means of distribution has to be social. I keep saying whatever content we do, it has to stand on three legs. First is whatever we do has to be Instagrammable. Second, it has to be video. And third, it has to be disseminated through social media.
Okay. So video has got very.
We all like watching videos.
Yes.
I may not be a teenager, but I'm a screenager.
Yeah.
I look at reels like anybody else does. Whether it's a good or bad use of time, that's another debate. But
yes. And people don't have time to read big articles now. So it's writing short content.
Can I tell you, long form journalism is thriving. People are paying for long form. The segment for that is very different.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're an expert on defense and you want to read another defense expert's point of view,
right,
you will read long form.
Yes.
So it's not either or. There are various segments, sub-segments. To make a carte blanche, say people don't have time to read.
But you don't get numbers for that. It's a very niche kind of.
That's not true. Okay. Look at this paid subscription numbers of some of the newspapers in the West. Look at what's happening to some of the sites in India. Yeah. That's not true. Long form journalism, it's its own. It's like you may have a snack in the day, but you also have your full thali. So it's, different times, different. So, the beauty is India, especially, I'll talk about India because that's what I know well. India is not it's not an either or country, it's an and country. Okay. Long form journalism will survive, short form videos will survive.
So everybody has got a
role to play.
Yeah, in India. What about regional media? Well, how?
I'll tell you, regional media is in possibly the best position to be thriving. If you're in Maharashtra, you'll read Sakal, you'll read other brands like Lokmat, Pudhari, local brands. If you are in Bangalore, in Karnataka, you'll read a Deccan Herald. You'll read
that flavor.
You need that local. There is authenticity. If you're in Kanpur, Lucknow, you'll read a Dainik Jagran. If you're in Meerut, you'll read Amar Ujala. If you're in Madhya Pradesh, you'll read a Dainik Bhaskar and so on and so forth. So the credibility. There are certain media brands in Goa which have their own traditional credibility. Yes. However, those media brands, those regional media brands, have to compete with players who are coming up in their markets, in their language, in their geographies. So they have to be new age like that. But there is a certain brand that has been built over 50, 70, 100 years. Yes. And that has tremendous pull. If you are in Inadu, in Andhra Pradesh, people do read you. Right. If you're a Malayalam Manorama, if you're a Mathrubhumi, people do read you.
Yes.
These are brands that generations and generations have grown over. They have certain credibility. Right. They have a certain track record. Yes. And because of their large positions, they also have certain responsibility and credibility.
And also linguistic diversity also plays a role.
Yeah, and people tend to consume content in their local language. So that it has a huge role to play.
Exactly. And that is a big advantage in India for regional newspapers.
Huge.
And that is why even today newspapers are coming and print media is still thriving.
I look at the balance sheets of last year's of newspapers. One of the best years for newspapers.
That's a great actually thing to happen. I think in the rest of the world, I think print media is slowly on a decline. Or how? What is
the print media is reinvent. Look at New York Times, Washington Post. Look at their digital subscriptions. They are growing. So half of their revenue is coming from digital subscription, half from advertising. If we can do it in India, media would have revived.
Yes.
Second is we have to bring down our dependence on government advertising. That's when we can be more for the citizen, for the reader, and that will lead to increase in subscriptions.
So we have to concentrate on subscriptions rather than
We have to
advertising.
concentrate on content that is for the citizen.
But is there a culture in India to pay for the content? Because the problem in India is a big.
It's a big trend. Today, people are consuming micro content. They're buying an article. They're buying 6 pages. So it is a content that will grow. Like if you go to a restaurant, you don't have to go for the buffet. You select a la carte. It's a small trend in India, but it'll grow.
Okay. Because it's very important even.
Micro payments with UPI. You can buy one article. You don't have to. You want to read an article. It's growing.
Use the technology to basically make it possible for the people to read only one article or a particular content. And every newspaper should try
it will grow.
Okay. Because there are always complaints that in India people don't tend to pay for the content and they want everything free.
In fact, Indian publishers are slowly putting a lot of content behind paywalls.
Now things are changing slowly, especially in the English media, I suppose.
Yes.
The regional media, they are still.
In my view, regional and Indian language, I don't use the word regional, the Indian language media has a bigger role because the affinity towards the brand and content is huge.
Right. So what happens with basically newspaper being sold at a very low price? So the whole economics are depending on the advertisers. So why can't the readers pay more for the subscription? Is there any experiment going on?
First, you have to believe your content is worth for the reader. First, the publisher and the editor have to believe that and then work towards it. Deep dive, differentiated content.
And secondly, advertisers are also diminishing. Whether now Indian media is
advertising. In India, the advertising is growing. If you are a good progressive product, advertising in India is growing. It will grow the AdX. We at Exchange for Media do a Pitch Madison advertising outlook for the last 18 years. The AdX is about 90,000 crores. It will become 1 lakh crores. 1 lakh crore of advertising. There are new brands, startups. There is D2C advertising. So
to be innovative in
you have to be a brand that is able to showcase its strengths and its inroads in audiences. So advertising is only growing. The beauty is advertising is growing, subscription is growing, but a lot of advertising is going to digital only players. So you have to become digital first.
Okay. And the print media will be depending on this regional advertisers. So
no. Look at Times of India's revenue. Look at Hindustan Times revenue. To say in print media, I told you at the best years. The Jagran and Bhaskar are listed. Look at their profits. To say newspapers are not growing it's not true. In fact, I would like to say the newspapers still have much more credibility than anybody else.
Right.
So that's what data says.
People buy newspapers and they believe in the printed word. That is Indian, typical Indian mentality. So what is the future of media now? How things will go from here?
Media is what the media creates. As I said, it has to be domain specific, it has to be deep, it has to be digital. The future of media is bright. Consumption of media content is growing. The formats may be changing. Podcasting is growing. I keep saying, television is a 2-hour market in the day. 2 hours for a viewer. Audio is a 10-hour market. People are driving 1.5 hours, either way 3 hours. So people are listening to podcasts. So audio is growing. So consumption of content in every format is growing. So we are not in the business of print. We are not in the business of text. We're in the business of content and audiences. We have to be multi-format, we have to be form neutral, we have to be media agnostic, and the content consumption is growing. So it will be a bright time for media. We just have to be genuinely 360 degree and build deep relationship with our viewers and readers.
Okay, it's a very positive note, and on this positive note, we'll end this interview. Thank you very much, Dr. Batra, for giving us very insight into the India's media scenario and how media is growing and the very positive outlook about the media. Thank you very much for talking to us, Dr. Batra.